I was shocked to find out how many people believe the hostage in the prologue of GTA 5 is actually Michael's wife Amanda. It turns out this claim was spread by MrBossFTW and Sernandoe in videos that have millions of views.
The hostage that Michael, Brad, and Trevor used in their very first heist of the game that we get to see is actually Amanda.
Now, what if I told you that this isn't just some ordinary person, but it is actually Amanda?
We're in Prologue, and just to let you guys know, this is Amanda.
There you have it, so now let us look at the evidence they used to support this claim.
The female in the prologue actually looks like Amanda quite a bit. They've kind of got the same facial structure, they have similar hair length.
This is the hostage on the floor, and this is Amanda, and you can tell these are definitely the same people.
Allow me to state the obvious. Just because two people look the same, this doesn't mean they are the same person. But if you compare the hostage to old photos around Michael's home, there are certain similarities between the hostage and what Amanda looked like when she was younger. We can also see that Amanda did have brown eyes back then, so modern Amanda must wear blue contact lenses. This is important because it means the difference in eye color between the hostage and Amanda doesn't mean they are not the same person. So I see four possible explanations for why the hostage looks similar to Amanda. The first, this model just coincidentally looks like Amanda. The second, a developer needed a model for a generic character and so took the unused young Amanda character model. The third, this was originally intended to be Amanda, but changes to the story meant this isn't her. And lastly, it is as MrBossFTW and Sernandoe claim. The developers meant for this to be an Easter egg, so it is official that this was actually Amanda 9 years ago, but it is never stated explicitly. The similar appearance of the hostage and Amanda is not the only evidence given by these three, so let's continue.
And if you guys are a fan of GTA 5 and you read the GTA wiki, you may have noticed that Amanda does actually have appearances in Prologue. However, no one knows where her appearance is.
First, I can say as a speedrunner that I have found the wiki to be factually inaccurate at least a dozen times, but in this case, the wiki is likely just referring to the woman in the funeral. It would make sense that even though Amanda knows Michael is still alive, she would still go to his funeral to keep up the appearance that he is actually dead. That Amanda can be later seen wearing the same sunglasses is further evidence that this is her. This, however, doesn't mean that the hostage isn't Amanda, as Amanda could have been the hostage and then later attended the funeral, so let's continue to hear the evidence.
But something I'm going to show you right now is the most concrete part of evidence to show that this is an Easter egg, and it's actually a small line of dialogue which you will hear when you shoot the hostage on the floor.
So, you're not getting none from that ex-stripper?
Yes, you heard right. So you're not getting none from that ex-stripper?
And Brad, who's supposed to be holding down the hostage, will in fact state a line, "if you kill the hostage." So you're not getting none from that ex-stripper.
Another interesting thing is if you went ahead and killed Amanda, Brad will tell you, so you're not getting none from that ex-stripper.
So open and shut case, right? Amanda is an ex-stripper who Michael is having sex with. What else could Brad possibly be saying with this line, other than that the hostage is Amanda, the ex-stripper? Well, for me at least, there is a much more likely explanation that will tell you something you likely don't know about Brad. But before I get to this revelation, it is important that we first listen to all the other lines of dialogue that Brad gives here.
Hey, they're collateral! We need them alive, dick! No more of that, asshole! Come on! This wasn't meant to get messy!
To assess whether these lines make sense for Brad to say if the hostage is Amanda, we first need to think about what Brad knows. It seems sensible to believe that Brad knows Michael is married to Amanda with 2 kids, Jimmy who is 11 and Tracy who is 13. There is some evidence for this. Firstly, they did do jobs together for at least a while, even if it wasn't for as long as with Trevor.
A long, long time ago in a faraway place, there were 3 guys. Michael, Trevor, and Lester.
And Brad.
Yeah, sure, Brad was there sometimes as well.
Another reason to believe Brad knew of Michael's family life was due to Brad's friendship with Trevor. Trevor was considered an uncle by Michael's kids, so even if Brad didn't have direct contact, he'd likely at least know about them through Trevor.
Trevor?
2 dads. Great.
Wow!
Very San Andreas.
What are you guys doing here?
Yeah, what are you doing here?
Lastly, Brad knowing that Amanda was once a stripper suggests he is familiar with Michael and Amanda's history as well as current circumstances. Now let's listen to Brad's dialogue again. Do these lines sound like, "Yo, why did you just kill your wife of 2 kids?"
Hey, they're collateral! We need them alive, Dick! No more of that, asshole! Come on! This wasn't meant to get messy!
Obviously, these lines don't make sense if the hostage is Amanda, but what about the ex-stripper line? Let us listen to Brad's remaining dialogue for clues.
If anyone's killing hostages, it's me! Hey, prick! Behave yourself! So, you're not getting none from that ex-stripper?
If you listened carefully, you would have noticed a sexual undertone to these statements. The last piece of this puzzle can be found in a later cutscene.
Woo! Did you see that shit? I fucking put that bitch's face against the glass. Did you see that? Yeah, you're a real stallion.
For those unaware, stallion is slang for a sexually talented male. Michael is sarcastically calling Brad this to mock him because of how Brad treats women and how he likely gains pleasure from harming women. So when Michael kills a hostage, Brad questions whether Michael is being sexually fulfilled by his ex-stripper wife at home, believing that Michael may have killed the hostage due to his sexual frustrations.
So, you're not getting none from that ex-stripper?
Brad admits that he would actually like to be the one killing the hostages.
If anyone's killing hostages, it's me!
But Brad can't kill them because he has to behave himself, and he gets angry that Michael doesn't do the same.
Hey, prick! Behave yourself!
I hope this additional context has convinced you that this line isn't referring to the hostage as Amanda, but simply the relationship that Michael and Amanda share. While there is no more evidence presented by Mr. Boss Sernandoe and Naught, there is a bit more evidence I have uncovered that impacts the question of whether or not Amanda was the hostage. In the mission Bury the Hatchet, Michael rushes to North Yankton to confront Trevor. If you start the mission as Michael, you have to drive there, and you can listen to Michael reminisce about what went on before everything went down in Prologue.
Amanda, I don't have a choice. We're going to move to Los Santos, start over. I made a deal. The slate will be totally wiped clean. Some depot out of town you don't need to know. Trust me, nothing is gonna go wrong.
This dialogue confirms that Michael didn't want Amanda to be involved in the heist, so he didn't tell her where it was going down. It also confirms that the event took place out of town at a security cash storage facility somewhere Amanda would have no reason to go, so it isn't like she accidentally got involved. Further evidence that the hostage is just a generic NPC can be found in the vehicles driving around North Yankton, again during Bury the Hatchet. Many of these vehicles contain the hostage player model. She has not aged a day in the last 9 years, and she doesn't even sound like Amanda.
How many idiots in one day? Sometime today, please!
I'm waiting for him to turn this into one of his episodes.
So having now seen all the evidence, which do you think is the answer as to why the hostage looks so much like Amanda in these old photos, and looks similar to modern day Amanda? I think she looks too similar for it to be a coincidence, but she is certainly not meant to be Amanda as far as the story is concerned. So for me, this either means her unused young character model was turned into a generic NPC, either by accident or because they didn't think anyone would notice, or she was put there intentionally but the story was changed so she was made into a generic NPC. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and be sure to like the video if you want to see more content like this.